So cool. How many are not from Colorado?
Rise of the humans.
Creativity, strategic thinking, problem solving.
I'm Heather Medlar, and here is a bit of my Salesforce journey. I need to start at the beginning. So this is my family. I'm married to my husband, Mark, of 14 years, and together we are Cincinnati Reds fans. I have two sons, Evan over there, who's 13 and in 8th grade in the golf team and starting to love NASCAR and discover that. And then I've got Timothy right there, who's going to be a Major League Baseball player. Drop the mic. That's all there is to say about that. My family, we like to go on adventures together. This is probably just one of those things that's like ingrained into me. I love to travel and I love to experience new places and food and cultures. And so this is kind of what drives me. And you see, we've gone to quite a few different places. But I've always had trouble making career decisions. I did not have it all figured out in high school, like a lot of people, or even after I was done with college. I didn't have anything figured out. I had a degree, but I didn't know what I was going to do next. So after about 6 years after I graduated, I became a music teacher. And I managed to develop myself in that career over 20 years. I taught general music, choir, keyboarding, and all different age levels you'll see. I had babies from 2 years old through middle schoolers. And I have to say I mostly enjoyed it, but with a growing family at home and maybe too many interactions with grumpy parents and administrators that maybe had unreachable expectations, and the need for more flexibility in my own life, I decided to end that career soon after my second son was born. So I took a break with him. But when I was ready to return to work, this lovely person over there in the yellow circle, her name is Miss Shawn. She worked at our local church and she pulled me in. And so I started teaching preschool music. And then I worked my way up through the church to eventually become the director of all children's ministries. And it was during that time that I was managing over 100 volunteers every week and schedules and a variety of different special programs, regular programs, and all of that. I really started to dig into our church's CRM experience and try to figure out. I was like the only staff member who was like doing anything with that. I would try to ask questions and I'd have to go research it online myself and try to figure out all these things. And it was at that time that I was talking to my brother, and he said, gosh, that sounds an awful lot like what I do with Salesforce. Here, go to this website called Trailhead and tell me what you think about this. And so I did, and I got very interested, and I decided to pursue my Salesforce admin cert. I'd love to tell you that it was an easy road, but it was not. I took classes, and then that was right at the beginning of COVID, and then I got COVID, and I had long COVID, and so that whole year was kind of a blur. So I want to share this picture with you because I kind of named my presentation after this show. It inspires me. It's on Prime if you ever want to watch it. Has anyone ever seen the Grand Tour? Yeah. So my favorite kind of episode that they create is when these three guys show up at a location having purchased a vehicle of their choosing for an unknown adventure. The thing is that they don't always know what conditions are on the road ahead they will encounter. So often they don't actually have the best vehicle for the job. But the whole time they're obviously struggling, and it's kind of funny. The best part is that no matter what they face, they always make it to the finish line. And that's what my story is about too. So, I wanted to share some of the things that I've learned along the way on this career pivot. So it's kind of like the in-between, what I did to actually get the job. So obviously I did Trailhead. I got the certification. That was the first step, but that was almost the easiest step. But it wasn't easy, but it was almost the easiest step. Everything I'm going to do talk to you about today is the in-between, all of the things that you need to do in between getting your certification to landing the job. So we'll talk about qualifications here. What I suggest is that you kind of, and I always do this, I don't know why, but if I get a magazine, I always go to the back and I flip forward. I go to any book, I kind of go to the back and I flip forward and I go. So that's kind of the same thing I'm going to share with you. If you want, you want to be a Salesforce administrator, go to the jobs that are posted and see what they want before you start your journey. So you can see if they want you to know if you're in Agile, or if they want you to have, SQL query skills, or all of these things. You can see these from all these different job apps and descriptions out there. So go see what qualifications you need to be specific about the things that you need to gain to get there. Okay. So, and by the way, I do have a QR code that I'm going to share this presentation with you. So all those links and everything, just don't worry about it. You'll get it later. So, obviously, Salesforce jobs start with Trailhead, okay? Trailhead, they've got a great career path module that gives you lots of different places to go and to explore specific to Salesforce. There is a Salesforce career page. This is full of gold to go into and see all the different types of careers. They've actually expanded it quite a bit since I started looking at it. Find the gems. Now here, write this down. When you're going through all of these modules and things, at the bottom, there's usually like this little list of resources. And I started to just flip over that and just answer the questions on the quiz and go past it. But this is where your gems are. Click on the link. If you don't have time to go look at it right now, click on the link and save it later to your resources or on your web browser. Save those links for later, because there is some excellent stuff in there. There's the Talent Alliance career cohorts, the career resource video series. It's on YouTube. It's made by Salesforce. It's great. There's a admin skills kit that just came out a year ago. And that's on the great Salesforce Admins podcast. And the thing about that is I like to say that even if you're just at the beginning of your journey and you're like, I don't know anything. I don't know. If I listen to that, I'm not going to even know what they're talking about. Go for it. Listen to it. Push yourself, because that's how you do get to learn it. It becomes a part of you. I always struggle with the wording and the acronyms and things like that. So that's best way for me to get through that is to hear them and to see them and interact with them more, even if I don't know at the beginning what they all are. So I highly suggest you do that. The next important thing about getting that job is experience. I'm sorry, but they don't care if you're certified at most of the places. They're going to say in an interview, well, tell me about your experience and what you have built, or tell me about what you have done. Have you interacted with other coworkers, and how'd you do that? And some of that can be your pre-job skills, if you've worked in a different field. But they're going to want to know exactly what experience in Salesforce you have for the job that you're interviewing for. So here are some great ways to gain the experience. And sometimes you have to be really creative with these ideas. Number one, Trailhead community groups. My local one in Cincinnati has an offshoot, a Women in Tech one. And for the last year, we've been doing a project where we're building a Salesforce instance for a local company who can't really afford to hire consultants and everything like that. So we are doing the work for them. We're all learning and we're gaining that experience. So that is a great way to do it. The Trailhead community groups, I cannot talk highly enough about them, because there you meet people. And like I said, even if you don't know anything, go anyways and meet people. And it's okay. You don't have, the Salesforce Ohana is incredibly welcoming at any skill set level. And so they are willing to bring you along. Another great resource is Clicked. This is something new that has taken off, and they give you real world problems to build and work in teams, and you get agile experience and all these other things, elements, put into one and you get guidance. And so it's free. It's free. So make sure you mark that one down. It's amazing. You can also join the Trailhead Mentor Circle. And this is something that you fill out a form for, and then they have certain times of the year that they put groups together, and then you meet for like 4 to 6 weeks with a mentor, and they take you through a specific program that really helps refine your skills for getting the new job. And I have to say that my Trailhead Mentor Circle leader is in the room today. Please give a shout out to Miss Kate Lassard. Yay! So that is very exciting. Volunteer. Maybe you're a part of a nonprofit organization, or you have some kind, and you hear that they're struggling with organizing something, maybe getting signups or something like that. Use your Salesforce knowledge and maybe offer to build something for them so that they can handle that and make an integration, so that it's easier for them. So that's what I'm talking about. You might have to be creative. Just notice in your world and your surroundings what could use a better organizational system, and then offer to help build that. I even did that with my a family member had a small business, and they were having a little problem, and I was able to work on that problem with them and solve it and add that to my resume as experience. So that's what I'm saying. Be creative. You can also build your own Salesforce instance to solve a real world problem of any sort. So I would like to tell you about mine that I built right away. I think I saw a video on YouTube about someone else that did this, but this is my Heather's Job Tracker Salesforce. Because when you get started in that career path and trying to change jobs, there is a lot of information, a lot of data to keep up with. Once you're in the middle of it, you have recruiters calling you. You've got all kinds of people trying to talk with you and LinkedIn with you and all of this kind of stuff. And it's hard to keep it all set. So I built a job tracker. So this is the home page of mine. You'll see I added just a simple dashboard. I've got some quick links there to career fairs and all the different things. You'll see recent records that I looked at and different tasks and things. So this is just one. Yours could look however you want it to look like. I would have to say that this is the Kanban view of my job application custom object that I created. So this is kind of where I left it off at. So you kind of see some of the places, I applied. Those were over there, and I can't see everything right here. But you'll see these are the statuses that I created, and then I have a long list of cold and rejected ones because, that's life. I have 2 job accepted ones. Yeah, that's great. And I had 3 interviews in process when I got the other job. So this is a great way as a salesperson, selling yourself to work the sales to see where they're at. So here we go. We're going to go to, this is the record page for one job application. So I just wanted to kind of show you some of the things that I put on there. Check out the activities over here and the related lists. You'll see that I built different email templates to use so that after I had a recruiter call and I logged that in my custom object, that I would send them an email right away that was from the template. So it was not very hard to do. I'd send them a thank you email real quick. And then, please let me know. And then I had all the recruiter calls because any job that you have, you might have a couple different talks with that recruiter. And right here, I was able to, keep all of that together. So I would know, I could look at this record and go, oh, okay, yeah, I talked to that guy already once or twice or thrice. And then I got the interview, and then I got another interview, and etc. So you can see all of this here on one page. The contacts are there. There is an account object that it was connected to. And so this was like super helpful. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything here. Yeah. So, yep. And I could even set up the follow-up emails for a certain time, like 1 to 2 weeks afterwards, etc. So it would remind me and it would send it. So you can see all of that. Let me go on to the next one. I had arrows. I didn't click. There you go. There's the status up there at the top. There's buttons. I have new interviews, new event, new task, new contact to create. And there is the activities and the recruiter calls and the interview related lists. So you could see all those records on one page, which was really helpful. This was helpful. And even, I turned this on my Salesforce mobile because recruiters will call you at any time of the day. And I was working a full-time job and doing Salesforce after I got home till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night. So I was doing 2 jobs in the same day for about 6 months. So this was really helpful to be able to just jot down who it was, who I talked to, what did we talk about specifically, and I could add in the account information later, and just have all that great data so that when I had the interview call next, I could go back and refer to all that information. Let's see. Yep. Next, interview questions. This seemed to be a lifesaver for me. I added this section onto my job, the interview object I created. And this was for anything beyond the first interview, the first recruiter conversation. So an interview was any meeting I had with a representative of the company. It might have, because sometimes you have an interview with this person, then you have an interview with a panel, and then you have a final interview with the HR person, and then you have so this you could use for all of it. And I'd like to point out that I created a section with the interview questions for me to ask because for every interview, I was already prepared with 13 possible questions that I could ask that I spent time researching ahead of time and well thought out. Because when you do an interview, mine ended up being an hour most of the time. Scheduled for a half hour, we usually talk for an hour. And then so you go through the whole interview answering all of their questions. And then at the end, they go, "Oh, do you have any questions for us?" And you're like, by that time, you're like, "Oh my God, I can't even move my tongue anymore. I can't even think." So this was super helpful for me to have these questions right here. And I could real quickly gather what we talked about and which questions would make the most sense for me to ask for that. So you'll see that, right there. And then I'd like to point out, I had some good ones. And I'll just point out that I couldn't, with these fields, the name of the field wouldn't go very long. And so the actual question is when you push or hover over the I, and it would pop up. And then I could add, you push the pencil, and then I could add in the answers that they provided for me. So I'd have that information. Okay. Getting noticed, prepare. There are security options. Now, this is something that surprised me. I did get some fake interview requests, and they tried to set up interviews over text. They tried to say that they were going to Skype me. They needed my social security number and my address and blah, blah. And I was like, no. So I have some suggestions that I would like to share with you. Let's see. When you post your, and you're going to have to, it's the way the monster works. You're going to have to post your resume on all different kinds of job notices and posts and boards and websites and stuff. So there are some things that you can do to keep yourself safe. I suggest you make a new email account on Google just for your job search. That way, you've got all of those together in one place, and you're not trying to go through your personal emails, and your personal email information isn't shared, across the world. You also could possibly get a Google Voice phone number so that you don't give your real phone number out, and that's really good too. And it rings to your regular phone, so it's really helpful to do. Just remember, no company is allowed to ask for your social security number before you're hired and before you have to fill out those tax forms. Never, no, red flag, oink, just get rid of it. Okay. I highly suggest joining LinkedIn Premier if you're in the middle of the job search. There are certain, I would say go to these pages and look up there's a lot of good reasons to do that. It does cost about $45 a month, but you get a lot of benefits that actually are very helpful in the job search process. So, and then I like to, I did this about 10 times. When I saw that somebody got a Salesforce Administrator job on LinkedIn that I knew, I kind of asked, I would message them and say, hey, could I see a copy of your resume? I'm looking for the same kind of job too. I'm just curious, what helped you stick out or, that kind of stuff. And usually everybody's like, yes, here, take it. I'm happy to share. So that's really good. And I also have a link, a couple links that I'm sharing in this presentation that they'll help you with formatting, because I had a lot of stuff and I needed to get it on one page. And there's this great guy, Steve Ehlers, who put a YouTube video up that really helps you figure out how to format that. I also used ChatGPT at the end. I had already written my resume stuff, but sometimes I like to format it in bullet point form. But sometimes I like to format it in paragraph form. And so ChatGPT really helped me do that, and very nicely and smoothly and really quickly. So it was my own material, but I just had to help me write it in different ways. So that was really helpful. Let's see here. Your LinkedIn profile is very important at this point. And the Talent Stacker blog has some great information for that. If you are not good at graphics, there's a couple, I'm sure there's a lot of places on Google that you can find, but Fiverr's one that will create a graphic for you that you can add to yours. There's mine. I created mine on Canva, just simple. And then I added my super badges and things like that. And you guys can certainly follow me. That's on there. I'm running out of time, so you notice that I'm going so quickly. So let's see. We already talked about that. Talked about there. Begin making connections. And this is where I talked about going to those important. And congratulations, you're here. Don't be shy. Reach out and talk to somebody. Somebody already grabbed me today and was so excited to share with me. And I'm like, this is perfect. Do this. Talk to everybody that you can today. Make connections, because you never know where those connections will take you. And I have to say, the reason I got my job currently where I am at is because I got connected with my local Trailblazer group. The leader of it, she happened to know these. I mean, I was there for like good 6 months or whatever before any of this came up. And she's the person who actually, she had a conversation with my boss currently, and that's what helped me get the job. So, and I didn't know that would happen, but I just went. I didn't feel like I knew anything at the Trailblazer meetings, but I just went to be a sponge and to meet people and bring my own gifts, so whatever I could offer. And that's what eventually helped me. Let's see there. Yep, apply to get on all the job sites that you can. Let's see. Elevator pitch. I do want to talk about this today. In the next session that we do, we will actually, if you haven't written an elevator pitch, you need to practice writing them. If you do something like this, eventually you're going to need to have an elevator pitch, because you need a 30-second introduction for yourself to tell somebody who you are, what your goal is, and how you can help them or the company or whatever you're talking to. So that is very important, right, Kate? Yeah, she's got a really good one too. We talked about that a lot in our group. Prepare your tools. Now, I had this from the very beginning recruiter call. I created this quick sheet in Google. It was a mess. It only made sense to me, but it had like all of my accomplishments. It had any experience that I had. It was just a list of everything me, Salesforce. And I printed it out because I'm old school. You could have it on your phone or whatever, but it was always with me. It was always in my purse for whenever a recruiter called me, I would have that ready because I was a children's pastor at the time, so I would be in that mode. But then a recruiter would call me and I go, I had to switch modes. So that really helped me. It was a great tool. The other thing I wanted to share with you is this is just my little trick, and these are actual artifacts, if you want to call it that. This is the LexisNexis job description off their website, and this is the one that was on LinkedIn. And I print these out when I'm getting ready to have the interview. And I highlighted everything that I had experience in. I jot little notes that would help my brain to be able to relate that experience real quick. And then, and so I had this tool with me every single time I had a phone call. And that helped me feel confident because I don't know if you ever get stuck in a moment where you're like, I can't remember. That helped me get past those barriers. So I really highly suggest that. There's some other things on here I know I have to go. My pivot, in November 2020, I started Trailhead and went to a few Salesforce admin community group meetings. I attended boot camp course online during COVID. I took the certification exam and failed. Yes. I got promoted at my current job from part-time children's pastor to full-time, and then COVID hit. So then, I had to do church on TV. And so if you look me up on YouTube, I'm sure you'll see a lot of embarrassing photos of me or videos. In January 22, I got back on Trailhead and focused on Force and prepared for the exam again after quite a break. I asked a new friend from my Salesforce community to help me study for the exam. We met at a library, and we went through all the Focus on Force questions. She turned her head to me and said, Heather, she's this lovely woman who's got a lot of experience. She's like, Heather, just go take the test. You're fine. So I did, and I passed in July. And I started volunteering for a lovely nonprofit out of Denver, Colorado called WeCycle. And I applied to 145 different job openings. In December, my mentor connected me with a part-time admin position, and I started working 10 hours a week online with a group from Oklahoma. Spoke with 25 different recruiters, had 38 interviews. I landed my first full-time Salesforce admin position 9 months after receiving my cert. After one recruiter call, one manager video interview, one panel interview, and one job offer from the recruiter. So, in that switch, I doubled my annual salary and increased my benefits. And I'm able to work from home and be around my kids and have weekends off. I didn't have that with the church. So, flexible scheduling, work from home. If I can do it, so can you. So, we're going to do this in the next section. So, if you want to start, we'll take a couple minutes here, and then we're going to rearrange the room a little bit and have a mentor-mentee session. But one of those things is I'm going to ask you to prepare to be able to say your elevator pitch. So if you don't have one, just get on your phone real quick and answer these questions and make some bullet points and get ready. So we'll do that. So thank you very much for your time today. I will give you that. There you go.